There comes a point in every life when everything seems to stand still, when prayers feel unanswered, when doors appear closed, and when the waiting feels endless. But I tell you today, it is not the end. It is the turning point. Right now, unseen hands are moving for you. The same power that created worlds is rearranging circumstances, conversations, and people, all for your good. What looks like delay is divine design. What seems like rejection is protection. God is turning it all around for you. Do not measure your progress by what your eyes can see. The visible is only the echo of the invisible. Everything begins in the unseen, in your faith, in your inner knowing, in the quiet conviction that says, it's already done. When you declare within yourself, my time has come, you awaken the divine within you. The world outside has no choice but to reflect that truth. The moment you shift within, creation responds without. You are not waiting for your blessing. Your blessing has been waiting for you to believe. The power that governs this universe moves by belief, not by begging. When you feel it real, when you speak it as if it's already finished, the very fabric of reality bends to your conviction. God's timing is not random. It aligns perfectly with your readiness. So release the anxiety. Stop asking when, how, or who. These questions belong to the mind that doubts. The soul that trusts simply knows it is done. The obstacles you see now are being transformed into stepping stones. The closed doors are becoming open pathways. Your part is simple. Stay in faith. Walk, talk, and think as though everything has already shifted in your favor, because it has. The invisible world has already delivered what your heart has claimed. Now, let your actions align with your inner assurance. Yes, storms came, yes, nights were long, but dawn is breaking. The delay is over, the tide has turned. This is your moment, your season, your time. Say it with me. God is turning it all around for me. Every loss is making way for restoration. Every tear is watering the seed of new joy. Every challenge was training me for this moment. My good mentor, the philosopher Imut Jastava, said in his memo, "You are not behind, you are right on schedule. The divine has been preparing you, shaping you, and refining you for this very chapter. And now, what once felt impossible will become inevitable. Stand firm, believe boldly, receive freely, because your time has come. Come. What seems like chaos in your life right now is not chaos at all. It is divine order in motion. Every delay, every closed door, every sudden change that you didn't plan for is not working against you, it's working for you. The universe, or what many call divine intelligence, is not random. It moves with precision, weaving together events, people, and moments in perfect alignment with your highest destiny. You may not see the full picture yet, but the masterpiece is already being painted. What you perceive as confusion is only the brushstroke of creation, preparing your miracle. When life feels uncertain, remember, divine rearrangement is not punishment, it's preparation. Sometimes what you call a setback is simply a sacred setup. The things that fall apart are often the things that can no longer carry the vibration of who you are becoming. You prayed for growth, for increase, for transformation, but growth requires space. So the divine begins to rearrange, to shift, to remove, to replace. It may feel uncomfortable, even painful at times, but this discomfort is the evidence that the old is giving way to the new. Think of it like a grand orchestra. Each instrument, each sound seems separate when heard alone, but when the conductor lifts the baton, everything comes together in perfect harmony. That conductor's divine intelligence, and your life is the music. Every delay, every detour, every unanswered prayer has its own rhythm. You might not understand the melody yet, but soon you'll hear how every note fits perfectly into your song. Divine rearrangement is not just happening around you, it's happening within you. Your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs are being refined to match the frequency of your new reality. The inner shift must precede the outer one. If you were to receive everything you desire right now, before the inner foundation was ready, it would collapse under the weight of unpreparedness. So, the divine delays nothing, it only develops you. Every moment of waiting is a moment of alignment. When you feel resistance, don't fight it. Flow with it. Trust that what's leaving your life is no longer meant to stay, and what's entering is precisely what you need to rise higher. The divine never subtracts without adding, never closes without opening, never ends without beginning anew. The appearance of delay is often the sign that rearrangement is reaching its final stage. The universe is simply adjusting the final details before your blessing arrives. So breathe. Let go of control. What's meant for you cannot miss you. What's aligned with you will find you. Everything is unfolding exactly as it should, even if it looks nothing like you expected. The same power that holds the stars in perfect orbit holds your destiny in divine order. Trust the process even when you can't trace the pattern. Soon you'll look back and realize that every delay, every detour, and every disappointment was simply divine rearrangement, the universe turning everything in your favor. Your inner world is the blueprint of your outer experience. Every thought, every belief, every feeling you consistently hold becomes a silent command to the universe. What you assume to be true, whether good or bad, begins to solidify into form. Life doesn't respond to what you say you want, it responds to what you believe you already have. The unseen powers of creation are not waiting for your words, they are activated by your inner conviction. The moment you feel that it's done, the machinery of reality begins to move in your favor. This is the great secret. Assumption precedes manifestation. Before anything appears in your world, it must first exist within you as a living reality of consciousness. You cannot experience what you have not yet accepted inwardly. When you assume something deeply enough, not as wishful thinking, but as an inner knowing, it impresses the subconscious mind, and the subconscious is what shapes the external world. It reorganizes events, draws people to you, and shifts circumstances until your inner feeling is mirrored outwardly. Many people try to change their reality by force, through effort, struggle, and constant striving. But true transformation begins when you rest in the feeling that it is already accomplished. That feeling is the seed from which the harvest grows. The moment you claim within, it is done. The universe begins to orchestrate every detail to make it so. The forces that seem invisible are actually highly intelligent. They move with perfect accuracy according to the vibration of your belief. When you live in the state of your desire fulfilled, you become magnetized to everything that supports that state. The people you meet, the opportunities you encounter, even the timing of events begin to align as though guided by an unseen hand. It's not coincidence, it's consciousness. You have shifted from hoping to knowing, from waiting to receiving, from separation to unity with your desire. But the key lies in your feeling. You can repeat affirmations for hours, but if inside you still feel lack, fear, or doubt, then that is what will be reflected back to you. Feeling is the language of creation. The universe hears not your words, but your emotional vibration. So instead of pleading or wishing, become what you seek. Feel the joy of it already being true. Walk, think, and act from that end. This is not pretending, it's aligning. You are not lying to yourself, you are accepting the higher truth that creation is finished, and your assumption is simply calling the finished result into view. Everything that now exists was once only imagined and felt as real by someone who dared to believe. So start now. Assume the best about your life. Assume that everything is working out for you. Assume that your dream is already a fact. Feel it so deeply that the unseen has no choice but to reveal itself in the seen. Your inner assumption is the seed of destiny. Nurture it with unwavering faith and watch reality reshape itself around your belief. Faith is the bridge that connects what cannot yet be seen to what is destined to appear. It is the invisible thread that binds your inner vision to your outer experience. True faith is not a desperate hope that something might happen one day. It is the quiet, powerful knowing that it already has. Faith operates beyond the limits of logic and reason. It does not need to see proof to believe. It believes and therefore produces proof. Everything visible was first born in the realm of the invisible, and faith is the bridge that allows that unseen creation to cross into form. When you live in faith, you live in the awareness that your desire already exists. You stop asking when it will come and start giving thanks that it already has. This shift in consciousness is the key that opens the doors of manifestation. Hoping still carries the vibration of lack. It whispers, I don't yet have it. But faith stands firm and declares, it is done. That declaration transforms your inner world, and as your inner world changes, so must the outer. The world is simply a mirror, reflecting what you hold within. Faith is not passive, it is a creative force. It builds bridges between thought and thing, between dream and reality. When you walk in faith, you stop trying to control outcomes and instead align yourself with divine timing. You release anxiety and step into assurance. You begin to move, think, and speak from the end, from the fulfillment of your desire. This inner stance commands the invisible to rearrange itself until what was unseen becomes undeniable. Many confuse faith with waiting, but faith is not idle. Faith acts as though the promise is already kept. Faith celebrates before the evidence appears. It does not tremble when things look uncertain. It stands still and knows. Every moment of doubt weakens the bridge, but every moment of belief strengthens it. To have faith is to see with the eyes of spirit, to perceive beyond appearances, and to trust that the unseen is more real than the visible. There will be moments when your senses scream that nothing is changing. The world may show you delay or contradiction, but faith does not yield to appearances. Faith looks beyond the temporary and sees the eternal truth. The invisible power that created worlds has not abandoned you. It moves through you, waiting for your unwavering trust to complete its work. When you truly know that your desire is already yours, you begin to live from a state of completion. Gratitude replaces worry, peace replaces striving, and expectancy replaces fear. You no longer chase outcomes, you attract them naturally because your vibration matches their reality. Faith is not about trying harder, it's about trusting deeper. The bridge is already built. All that's required is that you walk across it. Step boldly, not by sight, but by inner knowing. For the moment you believe without seeing, the unseen world begins to move, and soon the invisible becomes visible, exactly as your faith decreed. Your time has already been declared. The breakthrough you've been waiting for is not on its way. It is already here, unfolding in perfect divine timing. What you've prayed for, visualized, and believed is not some distant possibility. It is a present reality, waiting for your recognition. You are not waiting for the shift, you are stepping into it. The only thing separating you from its full expression is awareness. The divine has already said yes. Now it's your turn to agree with that yes. Every desire placed in your heart was not given to tease you, but to call you higher. It was planted there because it already exists for you in the invisible. The moment you desired it, the moment you believed it, creation responded. The universe began rearranging itself to match the new reality you claimed. You may not have seen the evidence yet, but that doesn't mean it isn't here. The shift has already occurred in the unseen, and your task is simply to align with it, to live as though it's already done. When you say, "My time is coming," you unconsciously push your manifestation further away. You place it in the future, always out of reach. But when you declare, "My time has come," something shifts within you. Your vibration rises to meet the frequency of fulfillment. You stop chasing and start receiving. The energy of arrival replaces the energy of waiting. You begin to walk differently, speak differently, and see differently because your consciousness has accepted what is already yours. Everything in creation operates by divine timing, and divine timing is never late. You have not been forgotten or overlooked, you've been prepared. The waiting period wasn't wasted time, it was sacred alignment. The lessons, the delays, the detours, the moments of silence, all of it was shaping you into someone capable of holding the very blessing you asked for. The divine does not deliver promises to unprepared hands, but now the preparation is complete. The shift is active. The moment is now. You are stepping into the season that was written for you long ago. You don't need to force it, beg for it, or chase it. You only need to receive it. Feel the power of that truth. It has already happened. Every cell of your being should begin to resonate with that awareness. When you live from the knowing that your time has already been declared, fear loses its power, doubt dissolves, and peace takes its place. Move with confidence, not because you hope for favor, but because you walk in it. So lift your head. Stop questioning when things will change. They already are. What was once unseen is now materializing. Doors that seemed locked are opening. Paths that were hidden are appearing. The chapter you've been waiting to live has already been written and the page has turned. Step boldly, for your time has come and the universe is rising to meet you. There comes a moment in every journey when the wisest thing you can do is let go. You have prayed, visualized, affirmed, and acted. Now it is time to release control. Control is the language of fear. It believes that without constant effort and worry, things will fall apart. Alignment, however, is the language of faith. It knows that when you surrender the need to manage every detail, divine order takes over and moves with precision far beyond human understanding. The moment you stop trying to force outcomes, the unseen intelligence that governs all creation can finally do its perfect work. We are in the process of creation as much as it. So much of human suffering comes from the need to control what cannot be controlled: timing, people, circumstances, and outcomes. When things don't unfold the way we expect, we tighten our grip, thinking that more effort will fix what only trust can complete. But true creation does not happen through strain, it happens through surrender. It's not about doing more, it's about allowing more. The energy of forcing carries resistance, and resistance delays manifestation. When you relax into trust, you open the flow that was always meant to guide you. To release control is not to give up, it is to give over, to hand your worries to a power infinitely wiser than your own understanding. It is the act of stepping out of the way so that what is meant for you can find you without obstruction. Divine timing cannot be rushed, and divine order cannot be manipulated. What is for you will not require anxiety, exhaustion, or struggle. It will arrive in perfect sequence when you are internally aligned with it. And so it's important not to take future actions when you are internally aligned with it. Alignment means harmony between your thoughts, feelings, and intentions. It means your inner state matches what you desire to experience outwardly. When your heart trusts but your mind doubts, you send mixed signals to the universe. But when you release control, you unify your energy. You send one clear message: I am ready, I am open, and I trust the process. That surrender becomes magnetic. Everything that belongs to you begins to move toward you with effortless grace. Look at nature. The rivers do not rush, yet they reach the ocean. The trees do not force themselves to grow, they simply align with the seasons. Creation flows through surrender, not struggle. Likewise, when you stop fighting against what is and begin to accept what is unfolding, you align yourself with the rhythm of divine order. The very thing you are chasing begins to chase you. The art of surrender is the highest expression of trust. It is saying, I know that what's meant for me cannot miss me. I trust that even what I cannot see is being perfectly arranged. And in that space of faith, miracles begin to unfold quietly but powerfully. Doors open without effort, people appear without planning, and opportunities arise from nowhere. When you release control, you create space for divine intelligence to work miracles. Let go of the need to know how or when. Relax into the truth that all is well and all is unfolding perfectly. In your stillness, divine order speaks, and when it does, everything begins to move beautifully in your favor. To live in the end is to occupy the state of your fulfilled desire before it becomes visible. It means to speak, walk, and think as though everything you've asked for has already come to pass. This is not pretending, it is aligning. You are no longer waiting for your dream to happen, you are living from it. The moment you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the universe responds. It begins to reorganize itself to reflect your new inner reality. The end is the beginning, and when you dwell in that end, the floodgates of destiny open wide. Most people live in the waiting room of life. They hope, they wish, they pray, but they do so from the standpoint of not yet. They talk about their desires as something coming one day. But that mindset keeps the dream in the future, always approaching, never arriving. Living in the end pulls that future into the now. When you walk as if it's already done, your vibration changes. You no longer send out the energy of longing. You emit the energy of possession. And life mirrors that energy back to you. Living in the end doesn't mean ignoring current reality. It means refusing to let it dictate what's possible. You may not see the evidence yet, but you hold the vision so firmly within that it becomes more real than what your senses perceive. You begin to talk differently, not as someone hoping for a breakthrough, but as someone who has already experienced it. You walk with confidence, you think from abundance, you respond from peace. This inner transformation precedes the outer one. Everything in creation responds to the state you occupy. If you live in the state of lack, you continue to attract situations that confirm it. But if you live in the state of fulfillment, everything begins to rearrange to match that feeling. Opportunities appear effortlessly. People show up at the right time. Circumstances shift in ways you could never have planned. It's not magic, it's divine law. You become one with the outcome you've claimed. The secret is consistency. You cannot live in the end for 5 minutes and then return to doubt for 5 hours. The mind must be disciplined to stay in the feeling of completion, even when the world around you hasn't caught up yet. Remember, the world is a mirror. It reflects your dominant state, not your occasional thought. So hold firm to the inner knowing that it's already done. Feel it until it feels natural, until it feels inevitable. When you live in the end, peace replaces striving. You stop chasing signs and start embodying certainty. You no longer ask, when will it happen? Because you know that it already has. In consciousness first, and soon in form. Living in the end is living from the truth that creation is finished. Everything you could ever desire already exists in potential, waiting for you to claim it by faith. So walk like it's done, speak like it's done, and think like it's done. That's when destiny opens and the unseen becomes seen. Everything that is happening in your life right now is not random. It is purposeful. The divine has heard every prayer, felt every longing, and seen every tear. What once felt delayed is now unfolding in divine perfection. You are stepping into the season that was always meant for you. The rearrangement, the faith, the surrender, and the alignment were never just lessons. They were the foundation of your transformation. Now is the moment to walk in complete confidence that God is turning it all around for you. You no longer need to chase what is already yours. The unseen has become seen. The promise has become presence. All that's left is for you to receive it, to live, speak, and move from the knowing that your time has truly come. So release the past, embrace the present, and expect the extraordinary. The same divine power that began this work within you will finish it in glory. Stand tall, breathe deeply, and declare with certainty, my time has come. Everything is turning in my favor. Thank you for sharing this moment of faith and awakening. May these words remind you that the divine never forgets its promises, and that the best chapters of your life are not ahead. They are now.
Do you ever feel stuck, like your ideal life is just out of reach? What if the solution isn't about creating something new, but finding a version of yourself that already exists within the quantum realm? Today, we're exploring the mind-bending science that could unlock your ability to manifest desired realities by navigating your parallel selves. What if the few who already has everything you desire isn't in the future, but exists right now in a parallel reality? And what if I told you there's a way to access that version of yourself, to literally manifest your deepest desires by tapping into the quantum field? Get ready to redefine what's possible, because what you're about to discover will challenge everything you thought you knew about the nature of reality itself. Let's start with something that might blow your mind. According to cutting-edge physics, the universe you're experiencing right now might be just one of infinite realities existing simultaneously. This isn't science fiction. This is modern quantum mechanics, and it's fundamentally changing how we understand existence itself. The quantum field is the fundamental fabric of reality itself, an invisible energy matrix from which all matter and possibilities emerge. Think of it as the cosmic internet, where every potential version of your life exists as data, waiting to be accessed. But here's where it gets fascinating. This field isn't just some abstract concept that scientists study in laboratories. It's the very foundation of your existence, responding to your thoughts, emotions, and intentions every single moment of every single day. String theory suggests that reality operates on multiple dimensions we can't perceive with our five senses, while the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics proposes that every decision, every moment, every possibility branches into countless parallel universes. In one reality, you took that job offer that would have changed your entire career trajectory. In another, you moved to that city you've always dreamed about. In yet another, you're already living your most abundant, fulfilled, joyous life. These aren't just theoretical possibilities. According to the mathematics of quantum physics, these realities are as real as the one you're experiencing right now. But here's the fascinating question that scientists are starting to explore, and it's a question that could revolutionize your understanding of personal transformation. If these realities exist, and the math suggests they do, can we consciously interact with them? Can we tune into the frequency of our most successful, happiest, most fulfilled parallel selves? And more importantly, can we learn to shift from the reality we're currently experiencing to one that aligns with our deepest desires? Here's where it gets personal, and where everything you thought you knew about yourself is about to shift. You are not a fixed entity. You're not stuck being the same person forever, trapped in the same patterns, limited by the same beliefs, or confined to the same circumstances. At the quantum level, you are a dynamic energy field, constantly vibrating, constantly shifting, constantly choosing which reality to align with. Every single moment, you're making quantum decisions that determine which parallel universe you'll experience next. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every belief you hold, creates what I call your vibrational signature. This signature acts like a radio frequency, naturally attracting and aligning with realities that match your energetic state. Think about this for a moment. When you're in a state of gratitude and abundance, don't you notice more opportunities appearing in your life? When you're vibrating with love and appreciation, don't relationships seem to flow more smoothly? Conversely, when you're stuck in fear and scarcity, doesn't it feel like doors keep closing, like the universe is working against you? This isn't coincidence, and it's not just positive thinking. This is quantum physics in action. Your parallel selves are essentially different vibrational versions of you, existing simultaneously across multiple dimensions. There's the confident you who speaks up in meetings and takes bold action toward your dreams. There's the abundant you who makes decisions from a place of plenty rather than lack. There's the creative you who expresses your gifts fearlessly. There's the loving you who attracts deep, meaningful relationships. There's the healthy you who feels energized and vital. There's the successful you who has already achieved what you're currently working toward. They're not fantasies or wishful thinking. They're quantum possibilities that exist in parallel dimensions, operating at different frequencies, living different realities based on different vibrational states. And here's the incredible part that most people never realize. You can learn to tune into these frequencies intentionally. You can consciously shift from one vibrational state to another, effectively moving from one reality to a parallel reality where your desired outcomes already exist. This is the secret that quantum manifestation masters understand. You don't need to create your ideal life from scratch. You need to align with the version of it that already exists. Now let's get practical. How do you actually shift from the reality you're experiencing to the one you desire? How do you move from the current version of yourself to the parallel self who's already living your dream life? The secret lies in understanding that manifestation isn't about forcing the universe to give you something. It's not about pushing and struggling and trying to make things happen through sheer willpower. True manifestation is about aligning your vibrational frequency with the parallel self who already has what you want. First, let's talk about focused intention. And this is crucial because most people get this completely wrong. This isn't casual wishing or hoping things will somehow work out. This is laser-focused clarity about which version of yourself you want to embody. When you set a clear intention, you're essentially programming your quantum GPS to navigate toward that specific reality. You're telling the quantum field exactly which parallel self you want to align with. But here's what most people miss. Your intention must be specific, emotionally charged, and consistently maintained. The quantum field responds to clarity and emotional intensity, not vague wishes. But intention alone isn't enough. Here's what separates those who successfully shift realities from those who remain stuck in the same patterns. Visualization becomes your quantum bridge. When you visualize with emotional intensity, you're not just daydreaming or engaging in wishful thinking. You're actually rehearsing the vibrational state of your parallel self. Your brain begins firing in the same neural patterns as the version of you who already lives that reality. Scientists have discovered that the brain can't distinguish between a vividly imagined experience and a real one, which means when you visualize consistently and emotionally, you're literally rewiring your neural pathways to match those of your desired parallel self. Think of it like this. If you want to tune into a specific radio station, you adjust the frequency dial until the signal becomes clear. Visualization with emotion is how you adjust your personal frequency dial. The more vividly you can imagine being the version of yourself who has already achieved your desires, the more you align with that quantum reality. But here's the key. It's not just about seeing the end result. You need to embody the feeling state, the emotional signature, the complete vibrational experience of that parallel self. Positive affirmations work because they literally reprogram the quantum field around you. When you declare, "I am abundant," you're not lying to yourself or trying to convince yourself of something that isn't true. You're acknowledging the parallel reality where that statement is already true, and inviting that frequency into your current experience. But most people use affirmations incorrectly. They say the words without feeling the truth of them. They repeat phrases while their emotional state contradicts what they're affirming. True quantum affirmations must be felt as truth in your body, not just spoken with your mouth. Now, you might be thinking this sounds too good to be true. Let me share what the research actually says, because the science behind these concepts is absolutely fascinating and increasingly supported by peer-reviewed research. Quantum entanglement shows us that particles can instantly affect each other across vast distances, maintaining a connection that transcends space and time. If subatomic particles can influence reality through connection, imagine what your consciousness can do when properly focused and aligned. Your thoughts and emotions are quantum events, and they ripple through the field of infinite possibilities, attracting experiences that match their vibrational signature. Neuroplasticity research reveals that visualization literally rewires your brain. When you consistently imagine yourself living differently, thinking differently, feeling differently, your neural pathways begin mirroring those of someone who actually lives that way. Dr. Joe Dispenza's research shows that people who practice heart-brain coherence and elevated emotional states can literally change their gene expression, their neural networks, and their electromagnetic field. This isn't just mental training. This is physical transformation at the cellular level. The observer effect in quantum physics demonstrates that consciousness itself influences reality at the quantum level. The very act of observation collapses quantum possibilities into physical reality. Your attention and intention aren't passive, they're active forces that shape what manifests in your experience. When you focus your attention on a particular outcome with clear intention and elevated emotion, you're literally participating in the quantum creation process. Double-slit experiments have shown that particles behave differently when they're being observed versus when they're not. This suggests that consciousness plays a fundamental role in determining physical reality. If consciousness can influence the behavior of subatomic particles, then your conscious choice of which parallel self to embody could theoretically influence which quantum reality you experience. This isn't mysticism disguised as science. This is science catching up to what mystics, shamans, and spiritual teachers have known for centuries. The quantum field responds to consciousness. Reality is far more fluid and malleable than we've been taught to believe. You have far more power to influence your experience than you've ever imagined. But let's go even deeper into the practical application of these principles. How do you identify which parallel self you want to embody? How do you know if you're successfully shifting your vibrational frequency? How do you maintain alignment when your current circumstances seem to contradict your desired reality? First, you need to get crystal clear about who you want to become, not just what you want to have. Most people focus on external outcomes, the money, the relationship, the house, the career success. But your parallel selves are differentiated by their internal states, their ways of being, their vibrational signatures. The wealthy version of you doesn't just have more money. They think differently about abundance. They feel differently about their worth. They make decisions from a completely different energetic foundation. The confident version of you doesn't just act confident. They have a fundamentally different relationship with themselves and their capabilities. So instead of asking, what do I want? Start asking, who do I want to be? How does the version of you who has achieved your desires think about themselves? How do they move through the world? What beliefs do they hold? How do they respond to challenges? What does their inner dialogue sound like? How do they feel when they wake up in the morning? These are the details that create vibrational specificity. Here's a powerful technique that quantum manifestation masters use. They create what I call a parallel self profile. They write detailed descriptions of their desired parallel self, not just the external circumstances, but the complete internal and external experience. They describe their thoughts, their feelings, their daily routines, their relationships, their challenges and how they handle them, their moments of joy and celebration. The more detailed and emotionally vivid this profile becomes, the easier it is to align with that vibrational frequency. But here's where most people get stuck. And this is absolutely crucial to understand. You cannot manifest from a state of lack or desperation. If you're trying to become abundant because you feel poor, you're actually reinforcing the vibration of poverty. If you're trying to attract love because you feel lonely, you're amplifying the frequency of loneliness. The quantum field responds to your current vibrational state, not your desired future state. This means you must find a way to embody the feeling of already having what you desire, even before it manifests physically. This is what I call quantum faith, the ability to feel grateful for what hasn't yet appeared in your physical reality. It's the capacity to feel abundant before the money arrives, to feel loved before the relationship manifests, to feel successful before the external validation comes. This isn't delusion or denial, this is quantum alignment. You're choosing to vibrate at the frequency of your desired parallel self instead of the frequency of your current circumstances. Let me share a profound technique that can accelerate this process. Morning quantum attunement. Every morning before you check your phone, before you start thinking about your to-do list, before you engage with the external world, you spend time connecting with your desired parallel self. You close your eyes and step into their reality. You feel what they feel, think what they think, experience what they experience. You let their vibrational signature fill your entire being. You become them, not just in imagination, but in energetic reality. This isn't just visualization. This is quantum identity shifting. You're literally tuning your energy field to match that of your parallel self. And here's what's fascinating. The more consistently you do this, the more your external reality begins to shift to match your internal vibrational state. Opportunities start appearing. People start responding to you differently. Circumstances begin aligning in ways that seem almost magical, but are actually the natural result of quantum alignment. But what about resistance? What about the voice in your head that says this is too good to be true? Or people like me don't get to live like that. Or I don't deserve this level of success and happiness. These resistant thoughts and beliefs create vibrational static that interferes with your ability to align with your desired parallel self. They're like radio interference that distorts the signal you're trying to tune into. Here's how to work with resistance rather than against it. Acknowledge these limiting beliefs as remnants of old programming, old vibrational patterns that belong to a parallel self you're choosing to move away from. Don't fight them or try to suppress them. That only gives them more energy. Instead, thank them for trying to protect you, and then consciously choose to align with a different vibrational truth. For example, if the thought, "I'm not smart enough to be successful," arises, you might say, "Thank you for trying to protect me from disappointment. But I'm choosing to align with the parallel self who knows their intelligence is more than adequate for their success." You're not denying the old belief or fighting it. You're simply choosing a different vibrational reality. This brings us to one of the most important aspects of quantum manifestation that nobody talks about, the transition period. When you start shifting your vibrational frequency, there's often a period where your external reality hasn't caught up to your internal transformation yet. This is when most people give up, thinking the process isn't working. But this transition period is actually a sign that the quantum shift is occurring. During this time, you might experience what I call vibrational turbulence. Situations that seem to contradict your desired reality. Challenges that test your commitment to your new vibrational identity. Or old patterns that seem to intensify before they dissolve. This isn't the universe working against you. This is the old quantum reality, making its final attempts to maintain itself before the new reality fully manifests. The key during this transition period is to maintain your vibrational alignment regardless of external appearances. Keep embodying your parallel self even when circumstances seem to suggest it's not working. Keep feeling abundant even when the bills pile up. Keep feeling confident even when you face rejection. Keep feeling worthy even when others doubt you. Your unwavering commitment to your new vibrational identity is what allows the quantum shift to complete itself. Here's something else that's crucial to understand. Quantum manifestation isn't always about changing your external circumstances. Sometimes it's about shifting to a parallel reality where those same circumstances exist, but your relationship to them is completely different. Maybe the parallel self you're meant to embody finds joy and fulfillment in situations that your current self finds challenging. Maybe they have a different perspective that transforms struggle into growth, obstacles into opportunities, setbacks into setups for greater success. This is why the focus must always be on who you're being, not just what you're having. When you embody the vibrational signature of your most empowered, joyful, abundant parallel self, your entire experience of life transforms, often before any external changes occur. Let's talk about another advanced technique, quantum scripting. This involves writing detailed descriptions of your life from the perspective of your desired parallel self, but written in present tense, as if it's already your reality. You describe your typical day, your relationships, your work, your feelings, your thoughts, your experiences, all from the vibrational state of the parallel self you want to embody. But here's the crucial part. When you write these scripts, you must feel them as true. You must let yourself experience the emotions of that reality as you write. You're not writing fiction, you're connecting with a quantum reality that already exists. The more emotionally invested you become in these scripts, the more your vibrational frequency aligns with that parallel self. Some people create multiple scripts for different aspects of their desired reality, their ideal day, their perfect relationship, their dream career, their optimal health, their financial abundance. The key is to make these scripts so emotionally compelling that reading them immediately shifts your vibrational state. Now, Let's address something that often confuses people: the role of action in quantum manifestation. Some people think that if they just visualize and affirm and align vibrationally, everything will magically appear without any effort on their part. But here's the truth. Inspired action is a crucial component of quantum manifestation. The difference is that this action comes from alignment rather than desperation, from joy rather than fear, from trust rather than doubt. When you're aligned with your desired parallel self, you'll feel inspired to take certain actions. These won't feel forced or difficult. They'll feel like natural expressions of who you're becoming. You might feel inspired to learn a new skill, to reach out to certain people, to pursue particular opportunities, to make specific changes in your life. This inspired action is actually part of the quantum manifestation process. It's how the universe orchestrates the physical manifestation of your new reality. The key is to distinguish between inspired action and desperate action. Inspired action feels energizing, exciting, and aligned. It comes from a place of, I get to do this, rather than I have to do this. Desperate action feels heavy, forced, and exhausting. It comes from a place of fear and lack, rather than trust and abundance. Here's another profound aspect of quantum manifestation: the ripple effect. When you shift your vibrational frequency and align with a different parallel self, it doesn't just change your personal experience. It affects everyone around you. Your family members, friends, colleagues, and even strangers you interact with begin responding to your new energetic signature. Relationships transform, opportunities emerge, and synchronicities multiply because you're literally existing in a different quantum reality. This is why personal transformation is ultimately a gift to the world. When you embody your most empowered, joyful, abundant parallel self, you give others permission to do the same. You become a living example of what's possible when someone consciously works with quantum principles to create their desired reality. But here's something even deeper. As you become more skilled at quantum manifestation, you begin to realize that you're not just shifting between parallel versions of yourself, you're actually participating in the evolution of consciousness itself. Every time you choose love over fear, abundance over scarcity, empowerment over victimhood, you're contributing to the collective shift toward higher vibrational realities. This brings us to the concept of quantum responsibility. With the power to consciously navigate parallel realities comes the responsibility to choose realities that serve not just your personal desires, but the highest good of all. The most evolved quantum manifestation practitioners understand that their personal transformation is intimately connected to the transformation of humanity as a whole. So what does this mean for your life, right now, today? It means that manifesting isn't about creating something from nothing. It's about aligning with what already exists in the infinite field of possibilities. Every goal you have, every dream you're chasing, every desire that stirs your soul, there's a parallel version of you who has already achieved it. Your job isn't to figure out how it will happen through struggle and force. Your job is to become the vibrational match for the reality you desire, and let the quantum field orchestrate the perfect unfolding. Here's your quantum transformation challenge. And this is where your new reality begins. Choose one aspect of your life you're ready to shift. Maybe it's your relationship with money, your confidence in relationships, your creative expression, your physical health, or your sense of purpose. Now, instead of focusing on what you currently lack or what's wrong with your current situation, tune into the frequency of the parallel self who has already mastered this aspect of life. Spend at least 20 minutes each day embodying this parallel self. Feel their confidence, their joy, their ease, their wisdom. Think their thoughts, feel their feelings, imagine their daily experience. Make this practice so emotionally vivid that your body begins to believe it's already your reality. And then pay attention to the inspired actions that arise from this aligned state. Follow those impulses with trust and excitement. But don't just do this once or twice and expect miraculous changes overnight. Commit to this practice for at least 30 days, maintaining your vibrational alignment, regardless of what shows up in your external reality during this transition period. Watch what happens when you stop trying to force change and start aligning with the reality that's already waiting for you in the quantum field. Remember, the quantum field is responding to you right now, in this very moment. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every belief you hold is sending ripples through infinite parallel realities. The question isn't whether you can manifest your desired reality. You're already manifesting constantly. The question is, which parallel self will you consciously choose to embody? Which quantum reality will you align with? Which version of your infinite potential will you bring into physical expression? You have the power to consciously navigate between infinite versions of yourself. You have the ability to align with realities that seemed impossible just moments ago. You have access to parallel selves who have already achieved everything you desire and more. This isn't fantasy. This is your quantum birthright. This is the extraordinary potential that exists within your very being. The parallel self who is living your dream life isn't waiting for someday in the future. They exist right now, in this moment, vibrating at a frequency that you can learn to match. The quantum field that connects all possibilities isn't separate from you. You are an integral part of it, capable of consciously directing its creative power. Your transformation starts now, with your next thought, your next feeling, your next choice of which vibrational reality to embody. The universe is waiting for you to step into your quantum potential. Your parallel selves are waiting for you to recognize and align with them. Your dream reality is waiting for you to become the vibrational match for its manifestation.
There is a power moving through you, unseen yet certain, waiting only for your recognition. To trust the universe is not to beg, nor to anxiously seek signs, but to rest in the quiet, knowing that all things are unfolding according to your inner state of being. When you imagine with feeling, you plant a seed in the unseen. Just as no farmer pulls at the soil to hurry the harvest, you too must allow time, space, and silence for the universe to bring forth your desire. Relaxation is not laziness, it is the highest form of confidence. It is the calm assurance that what you have already claimed within will soon reveal itself without. Do not look to circumstances for proof, for they only mirror the past state of mind. Instead, live from the end. Close your eyes and enter into the reality of your fulfilled desire. Feel it real. Walk in it inwardly, as though it is already yours, and the outer world will bend to match it. Fear, doubt, and restlessness belong to those who believe the outer world holds the power. But when you understand that all things come from within, you no longer struggle with appearances. You can look at conditions that seem unchanged and smile, for you know the unseen is already shaping them into form. Trusting the universe is like floating on water. The moment you stop struggling, you are carried effortlessly. The moment you stop interfering with worry and control, your life begins to flow. Your only duty is to accept within yourself the truth of your desire. The rest is not your work. So relax, be still, rest in faith. Know that what you have inwardly accepted must outwardly appear. The universe is not against you, it is within you, working faithfully to reflect your every assumption. And when you trust this truth, peace becomes natural, and life unfolds as it should, perfectly, inevitably, and beautifully. Imagination is not a fleeting daydream or a mere play of the mind. It is the very foundation upon which reality is built. Everything you see around you, every object, every invention, every work of art, began first as a vision in someone's imagination. What you hold within whether through images, feelings, or inner conversations, is the seed of the world you will experience. To understand this truth is to unlock the secret of creation itself. When you imagine something vividly and clothe it with feeling, you are impressing it upon the deeper levels of your being. This impression is like a seed planted in fertile soil. The soil does not question the seed, nor does it resist. It simply brings forth after its kind. Likewise, the creative power within you does not ask whether your thought is small or great, possible or impossible. It simply responds to what you impress upon it. This is why imagination is the key to shaping your destiny. Relaxation plays a vital role in this process. When you are tense, anxious, or restless, your energy is scattered. You try to control circumstances, force outcomes, and wrestle with appearances. But this very struggle is a sign that you do not yet trust the unseen power that is already at work. To relax is to surrender, not in weakness, but in supreme confidence. It is knowing that once you have imagined and accepted something within, its outer expression is inevitable. Think of a farmer planting seeds. He does not sit by the field anxiously wondering if the soil will do its job. He does not dig up the seed every day to see if it has sprouted. Instead, he plants with faith and rests in certainty because he understands the laws of nature. Your imagination works in the same way. Once you impress the seed of desire upon your inner world, your task is to rest, to allow, to trust. When you close your eyes and imagine, do not see it as a distant hope. Feel it as though it were already real. Live from the end in your imagination. Walk in the scene. Breathe its air and feel the joy of fulfillment. The more vivid and natural this becomes, the stronger the seed is planted. And just as surely as morning follows night, that inner vision must one day appear in the outer world. The reason many fail is not because the law does not work, but because they abandon the process too soon. They allow doubt, fear, and impatience to uproot the seed. They look for quick signs in the outer world instead of resting in faith. True mastery comes when you realize that the unseen is more real than what the senses show. What you accept inwardly with conviction will eventually harden into fact. Imagination creates reality, and relaxation is the proof of your faith in this principle. When you can rest in the certainty of your inner vision, you align yourself with the creative power that governs all things. You no longer struggle against life because you know life is only reflecting what you have already planted within. This quiet trust, this surrender, is the doorway to manifestation. It is the art of allowing the unseen to become seen and the invisible to take form before your very eyes. To live from the end is to enter into the state of the wish fulfilled and dwell there as if it were already your present reality. It is not about hoping, waiting, or begging for a future outcome, but about assuming now that the desire is already accomplished. This principle is not about pretending or forcing the mind to believe something against its will. It is about shifting your inner position, your sense of being, to one that is aligned with fulfillment. The moment you feel the reality of your desire, you stop striving anxiously because there is nothing left to strive for. The end is already secured within you. Most people live from a state of lack. They desire something, but they continue to see themselves as the one who does not yet have it. They pray from the problem instead of the solution, imagining the gap rather than the completion. To live from the end requires a radical shift. To claim inwardly what you seek outwardly, and to rest in the certainty that life must mirror this state. It is not your outer circumstances that create your inner condition, but your inner condition that shapes your outer circumstances. Consider how you feel when something is truly done in your life. Think of a time when you accomplished a goal, received good news, or crossed a milestone. There was no anxiety, no restless striving. You simply felt the relief and satisfaction of completion. To live from the end is to generate that same feeling now before the evidence arrives. It is a deliberate choice to embody the mood of fulfillment, knowing that what is real within will soon become real without. This is why relaxation and living from the end are deeply connected. An anxious mind is always looking to the future, wondering when or how. But when you step into the end, those questions dissolve. You know the harvest is certain. You walk with calm assurance, because within yourself you have already claimed it. The outer world may still reflect delay or contradiction, but you no longer react with fear. Instead, you rest, because you know appearances are temporary shadows that must give way to the reality you hold within. Living from the end does not mean forcing yourself to deny what your senses show. It means acknowledging that the senses reveal only a past state, not the living truth of your being. If you are broke and desire wealth, the senses will show lack. But living from the end means you assume the inner wealth, the feeling of abundance, until it becomes natural. If you long for love, the senses may show loneliness. But living from the end means you assume yourself already cherished, already chosen, already fulfilled. The world cannot resist such inner certainty. It must eventually rearrange itself to match the state you persist in. The art of life is to train yourself to return again and again to the end, until it feels more real than the present circumstances. Once you can hold the feeling of the wish fulfilled without strain, you have aligned yourself with the creative law. Relaxation follows naturally, for there is nothing left to chase. You know it is done. The unseen has already accepted your assumption, and the outer world is on its way to reflect it. To live from the end is to claim your power, rest in it, and allow life to reveal what you have already accepted within. The world around you is filled with noise, opinions, doubts, fears, statistics, and appearances that constantly try to convince you of what is possible and what is not. From the moment you wake up, you are bombarded with voices that tell you to be realistic, to lower your expectations, to accept limitations. This outer noise becomes so loud that you begin to mistake it for truth. But the truth is never found in the clamor of the world. It is discovered only in the silence within. To create deliberately, you must learn to withdraw from the noise of doubt and fear and listen instead to the quiet conviction of your own inner voice. Every time you look at circumstances and allow them to dictate your mood, you are giving power to the outer noise. When the world says it cannot be done, you feel discouraged. When appearances show lack or delay, you begin to wonder if your desire will ever manifest. But all of this is illusion. The outer world is nothing more than the echo of your past inner states. To allow it to control you is like looking in a mirror and expecting the reflection to change before you do. The mirror can only follow, it can never lead. Silencing the outer noise is an act of inner mastery. It is not about shutting your ears to the world physically, but about training yourself to no longer give authority to fear or doubt. It is about remembering that the true creative power lies within you, not outside. When you retreat inward and claim your desire as already real, you are standing in the place of creation itself. The conviction you feel in those quiet moments is stronger than 1,000 voices of contradiction. Consider how a seed grows in the darkness of the soil. It does not require the world's approval to sprout, it simply follows the law of life. Your imagination works the same way. Once you have planted your desire within and clothed it with feeling, it is already set in motion. The noise of the world may say otherwise, appearances may scream delay or impossibility, but if you can silence those outer voices and return again to the inner conviction, you will see the harvest in due time. True power comes from this inner stillness. It is not loud, not desperate, not anxious. It is calm, steady, and unshakable. When you know something within, no argument from without can move you. The doubters may laugh, circumstances may contradict, but you will stand firm because you have seen and felt the reality inwardly. This is the kind of faith that moves mountains, not by fighting the mountain, but by knowing within that it is already removed. The outer noise will never cease entirely. The world will always have something to say, but your task is not to silence the world, it is to silence its effect on you. When you choose the inner conviction over the outer appearance, you have chosen the only truth that matters. And in time, the noise will fade, and the world itself will adjust to reflect the quiet certainty you held within. In that stillness, you discover freedom. You realize that nothing outside of you has the power to shape your destiny. Only your inner conviction does. And when you remain faithful to it, the outer world has no choice but to obey. Faith is not a matter of struggle, effort, or constant pleading. It is not about trying to convince yourself through endless repetition or anxious striving. Faith in its purest form is rest. It is the quiet confidence that what you have inwardly accepted as true must inevitably show itself outwardly. To trust the universe is not to labor, but to relax into the assurance that all is already accomplished. The moment you truly believe, the strain ends, because you no longer feel the need to chase. You simply know. When a person lacks faith, their life becomes a cycle of chasing after outcomes, worrying about results, and attempting to control every detail of the path. They think their willpower or effort alone will bring their desire to pass, so they exhaust themselves trying to manipulate circumstances. But true faith requires no such strain. It is not about controlling the outer world. It is about accepting the inner reality. Once that acceptance is complete, rest follows naturally. Think of a traveler boarding a train. Once seated, he does not sit anxiously wondering if the train will reach its destination. He does not run alongside the track or attempt to push the carriage forward. He rests because he knows the train is already carrying him where he intends to go. Faith operates in the same way. Once you have assumed the state of the wish fulfilled, you need not force or chase. The unseen power is already moving all things to bring your desire to fruition. Your task is only to remain calm, steady, and inwardly certain. Faith is rest because it shifts your sense of time. Without faith, you are always waiting for the future, hoping one day it will arrive. With faith, you live in the now, because within yourself it is already done. You stop asking when because you already feel now. You stop asking how because you know the how is not your concern. The outer world simply arranges itself according to the state you have accepted. The Vatex ceremony. You should choose to accept This is why faith brings peace. It silences the restless mind that constantly questions and doubts. It ends the endless search for signs and assurances. Once you truly believe, you no longer need proof from the senses, because the inner conviction is stronger than appearances. Even if circumstances seem unchanged, faith allows you to rest in the knowledge that the change is already unfolding beneath the surface, like a seed sprouting before it breaks through the soil. The most powerful creations arise not from frantic effort, but from quiet certainty. To be still, to rest in faith, is not weakness, it is the highest strength. It shows that you trust the laws of the universe so completely that you no longer need to interfere. You can live joyfully, peacefully, and freely because you know your desire is already secured. Faith is not something you do, it is something you become. It is a state of being, a calm assurance that allows you to move through life with grace, knowing that what you have accepted inwardly is as good as done. One of the greatest burdens people carry is the need to control how their desires will unfold. They imagine what they want, yet immediately the mind begins asking, how will this happen? Who will make it possible? When will it arrive? What if it doesn't work? This constant questioning creates tension, doubt, and resistance. But the truth is simple. The how is never your concern. Your only responsibility is to assume the state of the wish fulfilled and to rest in that assumption. The universe has ways and channels far beyond your comprehension. When you insist on controlling the method, you limit what could have been infinite. Consider the seed once more. When planted in soil, the farmer does not worry about how the roots will form or how the plant will break through the earth. He does not stand over the ground day and night commanding the process to happen. He simply knows that growth is inevitable and allows nature to do its work. In the same way, once you impress your desire upon the inner world with conviction, the creative power already knows how to bring it forth. It draws circumstances, people, and events together in a harmony you could never design by effort alone. Letting go of control is not passivity, it is trust. It means you no longer interfere with doubt or desperation. You are not sitting idly by, but you are holding firm to the assumption that what you desire is already accomplished. This inner position is the only control you truly have, and it is more than enough. When you live in the state of fulfillment, the outer world must reflect it, for it has no choice but to mirror your inner condition. Those who obsess over the how often sabotage themselves. They imagine one specific path and cling so tightly that they miss the greater possibilities unfolding around them. Life may have been preparing a more direct or more beautiful way, but their fixation blinds them. The universe does not require your strategies, it only responds to your state. Your task is not to engineer the details, but to remain faithful to the vision within. Letting go also brings peace. The restless mind constantly demands proof, constantly tries to figure things out. But when you understand that the outer world is simply the shadow of the inner, you no longer struggle with appearances. You rest, knowing that once a seed is planted in consciousness, it is already complete. You do not need to demand or force. You simply need to trust, to remain inwardly aligned with the fulfillment you have chosen. The greatest manifestations often arrive in ways you least expect. What looks like chance, coincidence, or even an obstacle may be the very path through which your desire is delivered. When you let go of control, you allow this infinite intelligence to operate freely. You step back and let the current of life carry you to where you are meant to be. So release the need to control the how, the when, and the path. Assume the end, rest in it, and let life rearrange itself. The moment you let go, you make space for the universe to do its perfect work. And when it arrives, you will realize it could never have been planned better than it was. Everything you see in the physical world today was once invisible. Every invention, every creation, every circumstance began first as a thought, a vision, or a feeling that existed only in the unseen. The chair you sit on, the building you live in, the technology you hold, all of it was first imagined before it became tangible. This is the eternal law. The invisible precedes the visible. Nothing appears in the outer world unless it is first born in the inner world. To grasp this truth is to find peace, because you no longer look to appearances for reassurance. You understand that the real work is already complete the moment you have imagined and accepted it within. When you create inwardly, you are dealing with the cause, not the effect. The outer world is nothing more than a shadow, a reflection of what has already been conceived in the unseen. To try to manipulate the shadow is useless. The shadow has no life of its own. It only mirrors the object that casts it. In the same way, the circumstances you face are only the reflection of prior inner states. If you wish to change them, you must first change the invisible pattern within yourself. Relaxation comes when you accept this principle fully. Instead of worrying about how things will happen, you rest in the knowing that they already have happened inwardly. You have planted the seed in the soil of consciousness, and that seed carries within it the pattern of fulfillment. The seed does not need your constant interference. It needs only your trust. Just as a farmer understands that growth begins in darkness before it breaks into light, so too must you understand that the invisible work is done long before you see its evidence. This understanding allows you to stop fighting appearances. The senses may show lack, delay, or contradiction, but you know these are only old states still fading away. They cannot prevent the new seed from sprouting. The moment you imagine with feeling and accept it as real, the process is set in motion. Nothing can stop it but your own disbelief. And even then, the power is not gone. It simply waits for your acceptance once again. Think of how night always precedes morning. In the deepest darkness, the dawn is already certain. So it is with your desires. The outer world may appear silent, motionless, unchanged, but beneath the surface, the invisible is working tirelessly. To relax in this truth is to live with quiet confidence. You no longer demand proof because you know the proof is inevitable. You no longer beg for signs because you know the manifestation is unfolding according to its perfect timing. The invisible is always greater than the visible. What you hold in imagination has more power than what you see with your eyes, because the unseen is the source and the seen is only the result. To live from this awareness is to walk in faith, to rest in certainty, and to know that your inner acceptance guarantees your outer manifestation. Once you have imagined and truly felt it, the outcome is no longer in question. It is inevitable. The invisible precedes the visible, and the unseen is already shaping itself into form on your behalf. The great secret of life is simple. All that you desire already exists within you. Imagination plants the seed, faith allows it to rest, silence protects it, and trust gives it room to grow. When you live from the end and let go of control, you understand that the invisible always precedes the visible. There is nothing to fear, nothing to chase, and nothing to force. The universe is not against you, it is within you. faithfully mirroring every inner state you choose to accept. So relax. Rest in the assurance that what you have inwardly claimed is already done. Let peace replace striving. Let conviction replace doubt. And let your inner vision guide the unfolding of your outer life. The harvest is certain, for creation is finished the moment you accept it within yourself. Thank you for listening, and may you carry this truth into every moment of your life with calmness, trust, and quiet confidence.
Who are you if you already won millions? Who are you, but not who you think you are based on your current circumstances? Not who your bank account says you are. Not who your struggles have convinced you that you are. Who are you if you already won millions? How do you stand when abundance is your natural state? How do you walk when every step is taken with the confidence of someone who knows they are financially free? What thoughts run through your mind as you wake in the morning, knowing that wealth flows endlessly to you, like a river that never runs dry? Feel into this for a moment. Don't think about it. Feel it. You see, here's the secret that will transform your entire existence. You must not wait for evidence before you believe. The evidence appears only when you first accept your wealth as real. This isn't just positive thinking. This is the fundamental law of creation itself. Wealth is not merely numbers dancing in your bank account. It's not just the accumulation of paper and coins. Wealth is a state of being, a way of existing in the world. And the moment you step into that state completely, the entire universe bends to reflect it back to you. Consider for a moment, really contemplate this, how someone who already won millions moves through life. Do they worry about whether they'll have enough? Do they doubt their ability to handle any financial situation? Do they wake up with that familiar knot of anxiety in their stomach? No, they expect, they receive. They carry themselves with an unshakable confidence because they know, deep in their bones, that they are rich. Not because they hope to be rich. Not because they're working toward being rich. Because they are rich. It's not a goal, it's their identity. Think about the last time you heard someone talk about winning the lottery. Notice how their entire energy shifts just imagining it. Their shoulders straighten. Their voice becomes more confident. Their eyes light up with possibility. That's the energy you must carry every single day. If you wish to manifest millions, you must first feel like you've already won them. Not tomorrow when the check comes. Not next week when the opportunity appears. Not when circumstances finally align in your favor. Now, in this very moment, you must assume the feeling of one who already has everything they desire. Close your eyes and feel what it's like to be completely financially free right now. Feel the peace. Feel the confidence. Feel the joy. This is not fantasy. This is not wishful thinking. This is the exact state of being that creates your reality. When you move through your day, carry yourself with the quiet confidence of a millionaire, not with arrogance, because that's the desperate energy of someone trying to convince others of what they don't truly believe themselves. True confidence is quiet, assured, unshakable. When you look at a price tag, do not shrink in hesitation. Do not let that familiar fear grip your chest. Instead, mentally affirm with complete conviction, I can afford anything I desire. But here's what's crucial. Even if your outer world has not yet changed, even if your bank account still shows the same numbers, your inner shift will demand a reflection. Your only task is to remain faithful to this assumption. The moment you assume the state of having won millions, unseen forces begin working on your behalf. Forces you cannot see, understand, or control. These forces are more powerful than any strategy, more effective than any plan, more reliable than any system. Imagine for a moment that you just received the call, the life-changing call. You've won. The money is yours. How would you feel in that moment? That rush of excitement, that overwhelming sense of relief, that deep knowing that everything has changed forever. That feeling is what you must carry with you every single day. The people you need to meet will cross your path. The opportunities that will change everything will present themselves. The events necessary for your wealth's fulfillment will be drawn to you as effortlessly as the tide is drawn to the shore. But here's the test. And this is where most people fail. You must persist even when doubt whispers its poison. Doubt will come. It will say to you, this isn't working. Look around you, nothing has changed. You're fooling yourself. People don't just win millions out of nowhere. Circumstances may seem to mock your assumption. Bills may still arrive. Challenges may still appear. The outer world may seem to scream, you're not wealthy. Look at your reality. But you must remember that the outer world is merely a delayed mirror, reflecting your past assumptions, your old beliefs, your former state of being. It's showing you who you were, not who you are becoming. Think of it this way. If you were watching a movie and didn't like what was happening on screen, would you try to change the screen, or would you change the projector? Your thoughts, your feelings, your assumptions, these are the projector. The world around you is just the screen. Keep your new assumption alive. Feed it with feeling. Strengthen it with certainty. Protect it from doubt like a mother protecting her child. And soon, sooner than you think, the evidence will appear before your very eyes. And when it does, you'll realize something profound. You are not trying to become wealthy. You are wealthy. You are not waiting to receive millions. You have millions. It is already done. Live as though it were impossible to fail. Because there is a truth so simple, yet so profound, that once you truly understand it, it will change the way you move through life forever. Your world is nothing more than a reflection of your inner state. Everything you see, everything you touch, everything you experience first began as an idea within the mind. The unseen gives birth to the seen. The intangible shapes the tangible. And what you assume to be true, whether consciously or unconsciously, becomes the foundation upon which your entire life is built. Look around you right now. Really look. The circumstances that surround you, the people in your life, the opportunities that come or elude you, the wealth or lack thereof, all are manifestations of your inner world. They are the crystallized results of thoughts you have entertained, feelings you have nurtured, and beliefs you have accepted as reality. And your emotions are not mere reactions to the world around you. They are the creative force that shapes your reality. Every moment, you are vibrating at a particular frequency, and life responds to that frequency by bringing you experiences that match it. This is why two people in identical situations can have completely different outcomes. One person radiates confidence and abundance, while the other emanates fear and lack. Their external worlds reflect their internal states. If you feel lack, you create more of it. If you feel abundance, you call abundance to you. It is that simple, and it is that profound. Your emotions do not lie. They reveal the assumptions you hold about life. When you feel anxious about money, it's because you assume money is scarce. When you feel worried about the future, it's because you assume you're not capable of handling whatever comes. But if you could shift your emotional state, if you could generate the feeling of already having won millions, you would see how effortlessly life rearranges itself to match your new vibration. Most people live reactively. They let the outer world dictate how they feel. If they see money in their bank account, they feel secure. If they receive good news, they feel optimistic. If an opportunity presents itself, they feel hopeful. But this is backwards. You must feel first, and then the outer world will adjust accordingly. Imagine waking up every morning feeling like you've already won millions, regardless of what your financial situation appears to be. You walk through your day with a quiet confidence, knowing that all your needs are met. You do not panic over expenses. You do not hesitate when making choices. You do not entertain thoughts of scarcity. Your emotional state is one of certainty, of ease, of absolute trust, that abundance is already yours. If you could maintain this feeling consistently, your external world would have no choice but to reflect it back to you. The key is to train yourself to feel ahead of the evidence. Do not wait for circumstances to change before you allow yourself to feel joy, success, and security. Feel them now. Act as if you have already won, and the winning will follow. One of the greatest obstacles to winning millions is the tendency to obsess over when and how it will happen. The logical mind seeks certainty, needing to know every step, every detail, every possible route from here to fulfillment. But this fixation on the how and when only creates resistance. It keeps you trapped in a state of doubt and limitation. When you try to control the process, you signal to the universe that you do not truly trust in the power of your assumption. And what you do not trust, you push away. The unseen forces that shape reality do not operate by human logic. They do not require your interference or your management. They are far more intelligent, far more capable, far more creative than your limited mind can comprehend. Consider a farmer who plants a seed in the earth. He does not sit beside it, digging it up every hour to check its progress. He does not demand to know exactly how each root will form, how each leaf will sprout, or how the rain and sun will work together to bring it to fruition. He simply trusts that, in due time, the seed will become what it was always meant to be. This is the attitude you must adopt. You have planted the seed of your desire in the soil of imagination. If you constantly question how it will grow, you disrupt the natural process. But if you leave it undisturbed, nourishing it only with faith and persistence, it must manifest. Your only task is to persist in the assumption that what you desire is already yours. Everything else is irrelevant. Think of someone who has already won millions. Do they concern themselves with how it happened? Do they anxiously try to piece together the events that led to their windfall? No, they simply enjoy it. They live in the reality of having, not questioning or doubting its presence. This is the state you must embody before the evidence arrives. You do not need to know how your millions will come. You do not need to map out the exact sequence of events that will lead you to your goal. Release the need to control. Let go of the constant questioning. Move with the quiet confidence of one who knows that their success is inevitable. If you wish to manifest millions, you must align every word you speak and every action you take with the reality of one who already possesses them. Most people speak from their current circumstances rather than from the state they wish to embody. They say things like, "I can't afford that. Money is so hard to come by," or "I'm always struggling." Every time they affirm these beliefs, they reinforce their current financial reality. The universe simply mirrors what they declare as truth. Your words carry creative power. They are declarations of what you accept as real. Instead of saying, "I can't afford it," say, "That's not a priority for me right now." Instead of saying, "I'm broke," say, "Wealth is flowing to me in ways I cannot yet see." Instead of saying, "Money is tight," say, "I am grateful for the abundance that surrounds me." You must speak as though your millions are already yours. But words alone are not enough. Your actions must reflect your new state as well. How does someone who won millions move through life? Do they hesitate over small purchases? Do they feel anxious about spending money? Do they approach opportunities with fear and doubt? No, they carry themselves with confidence. They invest in themselves without hesitation. They trust that their resources will always replenish. This does not mean reckless spending. It means adopting the mindset of financial security before the evidence arrives. It means treating money as an abundant, ever-flowing resource, rather than something scarce and fleeting. The way you carry yourself also speaks volumes. Do you walk with the posture of one who is weighed down by financial stress? Or do you move with the ease and confidence of a person who knows they've already won? Do you dress and present yourself with care? Or do you let your outer appearance reflect a belief in lack? Every detail matters, because every detail reinforces an assumption. Each day, ask yourself, would someone who won millions say this? Would they act this way? Would they hesitate in this moment? And then adjust accordingly. The greatest test of your ability to manifest millions is your persistence in the face of doubt. It is easy to believe when everything appears to be working in your favor, when signs seem to affirm that your assumption is taking shape. But what will you do when the physical world shows no evidence of change? What will you do when old fears and doubts creep in, whispering that perhaps this is not working, that maybe you are fooling yourself? This is where most people fail. Not because their desires are impossible, but because they waver in their faith before the unseen becomes seen. The moment you assume a new state of being, reality begins shifting. But because physical manifestation follows an unseen process, there is often a delay between assumption and realization. This delay is not a sign of failure. It is simply the natural unfolding of events. Most people misinterpret this period of transition as proof that their efforts are in vain. In their impatience, they return to old thoughts, old doubts, and old emotional reactions, undoing the very progress they had made. You must be different. You must persist until it is done. There can be no half-hearted attempts, no wavering back and forth between belief and disbelief. If you have chosen the state of having won millions, then that is the state you must occupy mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, no matter what appears before you. When doubts arise, as they inevitably will, do not resist them with fear. Instead, observe them with detachment, knowing they are remnants of an old state that no longer belongs to you. Let them pass through your awareness without giving them power. Affirm to yourself, this is already done. My millions are inevitable. The world is simply catching up to my assumption. Consider a sculptor who is committed to carving a masterpiece from a block of stone. He does not stop midway simply because he cannot yet see the final form. He does not abandon his work because in the beginning it looks nothing like the vision he holds in his mind. He persists, chiseling away, refining his creation until the masterpiece emerges. This is how you must treat your assumption. You must hold on to it, unwavering, until it hardens into fact. There is a profound difference between wishing to win millions and living as if you already have. Wishing implies separation. It acknowledges the absence of what you desire. It keeps you in a state of wanting, of lacking, of being without. But to embody the state of having won, to live from the end, is to collapse the gap between you and your desire. It is to step into the feeling of fulfillment now, before the evidence appears, knowing with absolute certainty that the outer world must eventually conform. Most people spend their entire lives hoping, yearning, and waiting for their millions to materialize. They don't realize that this very state of longing keeps them trapped in lack like quicksand. They wake up thinking about what they do not have. They move through the day, reinforcing the idea that they are still waiting. They go to sleep feeling as though their desires are just beyond their reach. Always tomorrow, always just out of grasp. And so the cycle continues, year after year, decade after decade. But what if you no longer wished? What if instead you assumed the role of one who already won millions? How would you think if you had already won? How would you feel as you moved through your day? How would you carry yourself in the world? Would you still dwell in doubt about your financial security? Would you still fear the future? Would you still hesitate when opportunities presented themselves? No, you would move with a quiet confidence, with an unshakable knowing that everything you desire is already yours. This is the key to become what you seek before it physically appears, not through pretense, not through arrogance, but through the deep, quiet certainty that your assumption is reality. What you hold in consciousness, whether in fear or in faith, will harden into fact. The process is always at work, whether you realize it or not. You cannot stop it any more than you can stop your heart from beating. You cannot stop imagining, for imagination is the very essence of your being. But you can become aware of how you use this incredible power. Ask yourself honestly, are you imagining worst-case scenarios? Are you constantly affirming struggle and limitation? Are you replaying past disappointments in your mind like a broken record? If so, do not be surprised when these experiences continue to repeat themselves in your reality. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the unconscious creator of it. To change your life, you must first change your assumption of what is possible. Begin by seeing yourself as already possessing that which you desire. Do not wait for proof. The proof will come after the assumption is made. The moment you let go of doubt and fully embrace the reality you seek, it will begin to unfold before you in ways you never expected. Your life is not determined by external circumstances. It is determined by the thoughts you consistently hold, the feelings you regularly entertain, the beliefs you accept as truth. So make a decision now. Will you allow temporary appearances to dictate your belief, or will you persist in the unseen until it becomes seen? Will you waver in moments of doubt, or will you stand firm in your conviction? The choice is yours, But know this. The universe does not deny what you persist in assuming is true. If you refuse to entertain any reality other than the one you desire, if you remain unwavering in your assumption, then the world must conform. There is no other possibility. So persist. Persist through the silence. Persist through the doubts. Persist through every appearance that tries to convince you otherwise. Because the moment you refuse to turn back, the moment you make the decision that you have already won millions, it is done. Everything you seek, wealth, success, abundance, already exists within you. Your imagination is the key, shaping your reality through your assumptions. By living from the end, feeling the emotions of already having won millions, and detaching from the when and how, you align yourself with the reality you wish to experience. Your words and actions must reflect this truth, reinforcing your belief until it becomes unshakable. And above all, you must persist, refusing to waver, refusing to return to the old self, until your assumption hardens into fact. The world is simply a reflection of your inner state. When you truly embody the wealth you seek, when you walk, speak, and move with the confidence of one who already won millions, the outer world must conform. There is no other outcome. So stand firm in your belief, stay faithful to your vision, and watch as the unseen forces arrange everything in your favor. Your millions are not a dream. They are not a hope. They are not a possibility. They are a certainty. The only question that remains is how quickly will you step into it completely? Take a deep breath. Feel the truth of these words settling into your bones. Feel the certainty that your abundance is inevitable. This is your moment. This is your time. Your millions are done. Act as if you already won millions, because you have.
Beloved, let me tell you this mystery. The future is not something waiting for you at the end of time. It is calling you now. The person you are destined to be is not distant, not unreachable, but present, waiting for you to awaken to its voice. The whispers you often ignore, the desires that burn quietly in your heart, are not accidents. They are messages. They are the letters written by the hand of your future self, sealed in the envelope of longing and delivered through the language of imagination. When you close your eyes and dare to see yourself as greater, freer, richer in spirit, you are not daydreaming, you are receiving a prophecy. That vision is not make-believe. It is a glimpse of the self you already are in another realm of existence. The question is, will you listen? For your future self does not speak in words but in feelings, the sense of certainty, the quiet joy of imagining the wish fulfilled. That is the voice of destiny speaking. Do not wait for signs outside, for the sign is within. The echo you hear in your chest when you imagine boldly, that is the future calling. And when you answer, not tomorrow, not later, but now, the line is made clear. Your task is not to create the future, but to embody the message it sends you. Walk as if the letter has been received. Speak as if the promise is already yours. Act as though the future has bent down and placed its crown upon your head. For truly it has. The future you are destined to become is already alive, and the messages it sends are waiting for your recognition. The moment you believe, the message is no longer from the future, it becomes the present. The future exists now. It is not a distant event that you are running toward, nor is it a treasure hidden in the dust of tomorrow. It is alive in this very moment, waiting for you to awaken to its presence. The life you long for, the dream you cherish, the state of being you crave is already unfolding in a higher dimension of consciousness. What you call the future is simply an unseen layer of reality existing here and now, awaiting your recognition. When you understand this, you no longer live as one who waits, but as one who receives. The seed of the oak is not the oak in potential, it is the oak in essence. Likewise, the vision you hold of yourself is not merely a possibility, it is a reality already established in the invisible. It is unfolding, perfect and complete, beyond the veil of your present awareness. The work is not to create it, but to align with it, to step into its rhythm, to embody its truth as if it were already yours. Many spend their lives postponing happiness, saying, "One day I will be free. One day I will be abundant. One day I will walk in purpose." But one day is not a place, it is an illusion. The only doorway to transformation is now. The life you desire is not waiting for years to pass or conditions to be met. It is waiting for you to accept that it already is. The universe does not operate by time as you know it. It operates by state. You do not move into the future by days, but by consciousness. Close your eyes and imagine yourself as the person you long to be. Feel the certainty of that life, the peace, the joy, the accomplishment, the freedom. As you enter that feeling, you are not pretending. You are aligning with the dimension where that life is real. That alignment is the bridge. It is the key that unlocks the unseen and draws it into your visible world. The shift is not in time, it is in awareness. Consider a radio. 100 frequencies exist in the same space, yet you only hear the one you are tuned to. Your future is no different. The life you desire is already broadcasting its song, but you must tune yourself to its frequency. How? By thought, by feeling, by imagination. By refusing to dwell in lack and choosing instead to dwell in fulfillment. Every moment you feel yourself in the state of your desired life, you are harmonizing with that dimension. And as surely as a seed planted in soil must sprout, your aligned state must express itself in the world around you. Do not measure your progress by outer appearances. The oak does not appear the moment the seed is planted, but already within the unseen, the tree exists. So it is with your life. The invisible precedes the visible, and the future precedes the present. What you choose to believe now is the reality you will inevitably behold. Therefore, walk as though it is done, speak as though it is true, feel as though you already stand in the life you desire. The future exists now, and the moment you align with it, you step into its unfolding. Imagination is the bridge between who you are now and who you are destined to become. It is not idle play, nor empty fancy, but the sacred doorway through which your future self speaks to you. Every image that rises in the stillness of your mind, every scene that stirs your heart, is not mere invention. It is communication. It is the language of destiny, written in symbols and feelings, guiding you into alignment with the life that already awaits you. So often we are taught to treat imagination as childish, as if it were a toy to be discarded once we grow older. Yet imagination is the most powerful faculty of the human spirit. It is the eye that sees what the physical eye cannot. It is the bridge across time, where the unseen meets the seen. When you sit in silence and envision yourself living fully, walking boldly, thriving abundantly, you are not daydreaming. You are receiving a message from the dimension of your fulfilled self. That vision is real, It exists already, and your imagination is the thread that connects you to it. Think of how your heart responds when you dwell on such images. Notice how your body changes, how your breath deepens, how your spirit lifts. This is not fantasy, it is resonance. Your future self is pulling you, whispering, "This is who you are. This is where you belong." And the more you allow yourself to feel it, the stronger the bridge becomes. What you accept inwardly with conviction must eventually manifest outwardly. The world outside is only the echo of the world you have already built within. Imagination is not a tool for escape, but for creation. To escape is to run from what is, but to imagine is to transform what is by aligning with what is greater. When you picture yourself free, you are rehearsing freedom. When you imagine abundance, you are embodying wealth. When you envision love, you are cultivating the vibration that draws it into form. The unseen and the seen are not separate. They are one. Imagination is the bridge that allows what is hidden to be revealed. Consider the architect who designs a building. Before the stone is laid, the plan exists in imagination. Before the painter's brush touches the canvas, the image is alive within. In the same way, before your destiny appears in time, it is complete in the silence of your mind. To dismiss your imagination is to deny the blueprint of your own future. To embrace it is to walk across the bridge into the life already prepared for you. But the key is to dwell. A fleeting thought is a shadow, but a sustained image is a seed. What you dwell on in silence grows roots in the unseen and bears fruit in the seen. Do not think lightly of the moments you spend imagining. They are the sacred meetings where you commune with your future self. Each image you nurture in faith is a step across the bridge, a step into the reality that already exists. So guard your imagination. Do not use it to rehearse fear or replay failure. Use it to see beyond appearances, to anchor yourself in the greater truth of who you are becoming. For imagination is not fantasy, it is prophecy. It is the bridge that carries you from longing into fulfillment, from shadow into light, from what you are. To feel it as done is the great key. The secret is not to wait for signs, nor to look for proof in the outer world, but to take the end you desire and embody it now. The mind wants to postpone, to say, "One day I will be there, one day it will happen." But the spirit knows no delay. It moves not by time, but by feeling. The moment you feel the reality of your fulfilled life, you are joined to it. You are no longer reaching, you are receiving. Consider this truth. The world is but a mirror. It reflects back to you the inner state you carry. If you hold yourself in longing, the mirror shows you distance. If you hold yourself in fulfillment, the mirror shows you evidence. The outer life cannot resist the inner life you have claimed as real. Feeling is the magnet, and it draws into form what you already sense as true. When you imagine, do not stop at the picture, enter into it. Let it become alive, let it breathe in you. If you desire freedom, feel the weight lifted, the breath easy, the steps unchained. If you desire abundance, feel the relief of supply, the joy of overflow, the confidence of security. If you desire love, feel the warmth, the belonging, the certainty that you are cherished. Do not wait for these things to arrive from outside. Claim them within, and they must reveal themselves without. The error most people make is waiting for permission from circumstances. They believe they will feel joy once success appears, or peace once the problem resolves. But life bends in the opposite direction. Success appears once you feel joy. The problem resolves once you feel peace. You are not a victim of what is seen, you are the cause of what becomes seen. And the cause is feeling. Feeling it as done is not pretending, it is stepping into a higher law. Pretending is weak, it knows it is false. Feeling is faith, it knows it is real. Faith does not ask how or when. It rests in the certainty of already. This resting is the proof of trust. When you no longer chase, no longer grasp, no longer wonder if it will be, you are standing in the state of already fulfilled. And in that state, guidance flows. Intuition rises. Doors open. You do not force the path. The path reveals itself. Think of the actor who takes on a role. He does not wait for the states to transform before he embodies the character. He becomes it first, and the stage follows. So it is with life. Your outer world is the stage that conforms to the role you inwardly play. If you wish for change, you must step into the feeling of the new role now. The script is written in your emotion. Therefore, begin this moment. Do not say, I will feel it tomorrow. Choose the end you desire and clothe yourself in its reality. Walk as though it is finished. Rest as though it is complete. Let the feeling of fulfillment be your constant dwelling, for when you feel it as done, the unseen world bows, and the seen world follows. Every true desire is not a random spark, nor an empty craving. It is a whisper from your future self. It is the voice of who you already are in another dimension, calling you to rise, to expand, to embody the fullness of your being. When you feel the pull of a deep desire, understand that it is not something you are trying to become. It is something you already are, urging you to recognize it here and now. Desire is often misunderstood. Many are taught to suppress it, to treat it as weakness, to mistrust the longing within. But desire is holy. It is the current that connects you to the greater version of yourself. It is the conversation between the visible and the invisible, between the present self and the future self. To silence desire is to silence guidance. To honor desire is to walk the path of destiny. Notice the difference between fleeting wants and true desires. A want may arise from comparison, from fear, from the grasping of the ego, but a true desire carries weight, depth, and persistence. It does not leave you. It stirs your heart in quiet moments. It returns to you when you think you have let it go. This kind of desire is not placed in you by accident. It is a message, a seed, a reminder that the life you long for already exists. The desire itself is proof. When you long for freedom, it is because freedom is your essence. When you yearn for love, it is because love is your nature. When you hunger for abundance, it is because abundance is already your inheritance. Desire is the echo of the future calling into the present, saying, come closer. Step into what you already are. The mistake is to think desire means lack. It does not. Desire means alignment is calling. It is not showing you what you are missing, but what you are meant to claim. It is not a gap to be filled, but a bridge to be crossed. If you treat desire as absence, you chain yourself to longing. If you treat desire as guidance, you walk straight into fulfillment. Full men do not ignore your desires, for they are the map. They show you the direction of your unfolding. Every step you take toward them is a step toward your truest self. But the step is not always outer. It begins inwardly. To honor desire, you must first accept it as real. Allow yourself to feel its reality. Embrace the joy of its fulfillment. Know that the moment the desire was born within you, the path to its realization was born also. Think of desire as a seed planted by your future self. The moment you feel it, the seed is alive. You do not need to force it into being. You need only nurture it, water it with faith, dwell in the certainty that it already belongs to you. In time, it must break through into form. So listen carefully to your desires. They are not distractions, they are directions. They are not weaknesses, they are revelations. Each true desire is your future self reaching back, urging you to become what you already are. And when you honor that voice, you will see that the life you dreamed of was never ahead of you. It was within you, calling all along. Silence is the portal through which the unseen speaks. In the stillness of mind, when the noise of worry and doubt fades, the voice of your future self can be heard. It does not shout, it does not demand. It whispers with clarity, guiding you with the certainty of one who already knows the path. The question is never whether guidance exists, but whether you are quiet enough to receive it. Life is full of noise. The mind is often crowded with questions, fears, and endless analysis. We chase answers from the world outside, hoping someone else will reveal the way. Yet the deepest answers are not found in the clamor of voices, but in the silence of the heart. When you dare to be still, when you rest the mind and release the strain, something higher begins to move. You realize the guidance you were searching for has been within you all along. Silence is not emptiness, it is fullness. It is the space where the eternal speaks. The future you, already wise, already whole, already complete, communicates through the language of intuition, hunches, sudden clarity, gentle nudges of feeling. These impressions rise only when the waters of the mind are calm. If the surface is disturbed, the reflection cannot be seen. But in silence, the reflection of your greater self becomes clear. Think of a radio again. Countless frequencies fill the air, but unless you tune in, you cannot hear them. Silence is the tuning dial. It aligns you with the frequency of your higher self, the self that already knows the end from the beginning. The guidance you seek is not far away. It is waiting on the other side of stillness, but silence requires trust. The restless mind wants to act, to analyze, to force solutions. Yet the more you struggle, the more tangled you become. Guidance does not come through force, it comes through surrender. In silence, you let go of the need to control, and in that letting go, the path unfolds. You do not need to figure everything out, you need to listen. And listening is only possible when you are still. Make time to enter this sacred silence. Close your eyes, release the tension of the day, and let your thoughts settle. In that quiet space, imagine yourself already living the life you desire. Let the feeling of fulfillment rise gently within you. Do not push, do not grasp, simply allow. In that allowing, messages will come. A sense of peace about a decision, a sudden vision of what step to take, an inner certainty that needs no explanation. This is the voice of your future self, guiding you from beyond time. Understand this, silence is not passive. It is the most powerful action you can take. In silence, you realign with your true nature. In silence, you open the door for wisdom to flow. In silence, you step into communion with the self that has already arrived. So treasure silence. Do not fear it. Do not rush from it. Enter it as you would enter a sacred temple, for in that stillness you will find the portal, and through that portal you will hear the guidance that never fails. The voice of your future self is waiting, not in the chaos, but in the silence. To live the message now is the final step, the great act of faith that turns the unseen into the seen. Your future does not wait for years to pass. It waits for you to embody it in this very moment. The guidance you have received through desire, imagination, and silence is not meant to remain in thought alone. It is meant to be lived. To connect with your future, you must act, think, and feel as though the message has already manifested. Too often people hold their vision at arm's length. They treat it as a hope, something to admire from afar, but not something to wear in the present. They say, "One day I will live that way," when the evidence appears. But the truth is reversed. Evidence does not appear until you live as though it already has. Life mirrors what you embody. The moment you begin to carry yourself as though the promise is fulfilled, the world bends to confirm it. This does not mean pretending. Pretending knows it is false. Living the message means identifying yourself with the reality of your desire so deeply that you no longer question it. If the future has already spoken, why delay? If the message has already been sent, why wait to open it? Walk in the confidence that it is done, and every step you take will carve the path for its unfolding. Think of a person rehearsing for a role. Before the curtain rises, they speak, move, and breathe as the character. By the time they stand before the audience, they are no longer acting. They are simply being. So it is with your life. If you want freedom, walk in freedom's posture now. If you want abundance, let your choices reflect the wisdom of one who already has enough. If you want love, radiate the openness of one who is already cherished. The role must be lived before the stage can transform. Every action you take, no matter how small, carries power when it is rooted in the assumption that the message is already real. The way you speak about yourself, the way you treat others, the way you carry your inner state, these are all declarations to the universe. They announce, "This is who I am, this is my reality." And reality cannot help but respond. Living the message also requires consistency. A seed planted once does not bear fruit overnight. It must be nurtured daily. So hold fast to the feeling of fulfillment. Return to it again and again until it becomes your natural dwelling. Do not be swayed by appearances that seem to contradict it. The outer world is always slower to change than the inner. But the change is certain if you persist in living as though it is already here. So begin now. Act as though the letter from your future self has been received and read. Think as though the promise has already unfolded. Feel as though the crown has already been placed upon your head. When you live the message now, you collapse the distance between what is unseen and what is seen. The future is no longer ahead of you, it is within you, expressed through every thought, every word, every step. And in that living, the message is fulfilled. So the voice of your future self has been speaking all along, through desire, through imagination, through the silence, through the feelings you dare to embrace. It has been whispering, not of something far away, but of something already here, waiting for your recognition. The life you long for is not coming from the outside, it is unfolding from within you. Every vision you honor, every feeling you sustain, every step you live as though it is already done, these are the bridges that collapse time and reveal destiny in the now. Do not wait for tomorrow. Tomorrow is only the echo of today. Live the message now. Speak it, feel it, breathe it, and the future you will not only meet, you will embody. For the greatest truth is this: you are already the one you seek to become. Thanks. Thank you for walking this journey with me. May you hear the whispers of your future self and have the courage to live them now. If this message touched you, share it with others who are ready to awaken to their destiny. Your support means everything. Stay inspired, stay awakened, and remember, the future exists in you right now. Thank you.